This video may be shorter than anticipated, but I'm going to share what the infinite possibilities framework is all about. So this might not be for everybody, so if this does not pique your interest, you are welcome to click off this video. But if you are, just understand, I'm going to share with you the infinite possibilities framework with the hopes that by the end of this video, you're going to apply it into your own life. So with that, let's dive straight into what this framework is all about. So in the manifestation space, there's a phrase tossed around known as infinite possibilities, or it might be worded in different ways. You can manifest anything. Any possibility is viable. You could create anything, or you could shift to any reality. There's many different variations, and I also think that there's no one definition for it. You'll find often that when it comes to anything in life, much less the law of attraction and manifestation, there are subjective interpretations of the same thing. So this video is essentially, this is subjective to me. So you're hearing my perspective, and if this even aligns with you, and if you even want to apply this in the first place. So for me personally, it's said that there exist infinite possibilities for your physical experience. So you can shift to any particular sector of reality, right? Any sector that you want to experience, you can shift to that. That's how I perceive infinite possibilities. You are shifting from one experience to another via your internal world. So, your identity, your core beliefs, your core worldviews, these things govern your experience and what you're currently experiencing. They also govern, especially if you're stuck in a current predicament, it's an indicator for why you're stuck. You might think you're doing something right. You might think you have your manifestation practices in check. But sometimes it's just not true. Sometimes you actually have an identity problem and you don't really realize it. It's below the surface. So understand that your internal world influences the sector of reality that you're experiencing, right? So moving on from that, let's understand that with that also comes a physical limitation. So what people won't tell you sometimes is that even though you can hypothetically experience what is already in this world, anything that is in this world, and potentially beyond that, in the far future, things that we can't do now, we can potentially do later. Eons from now, it could be possible, but there will come a physical limitation, a physical delay period. So what I mean is that nothing will occur instantaneously. It'll take time to experience. So this time may differ whenever you're shifting from one sector to another. But the point is that there will still be time. It'll still have time in place. So I call this the delay principle. There's always a delay when it comes to manifesting or experiencing something that you want in life. And if you don't know this, you end up having inflated expectations. You end up misunderstanding manifestation. A lot of people give up when they don't experience fast results because that's all people told them. They just told them, hey, you use affirmations, you script, you'll experience 24-hour results. And they run with that narrative, but it fails. And then because of that, they think, oh, the law of attraction's fake, or this manifestation stuff, there's no merit to it, there's no validity, so they quit. And I would say, don't have inflated expectations. Most often, if you're trying to shift your identity, you have to get through that hurdle first. Once you do, though, when you're taking the right actions, it still takes a bit of time for physical components to come together. But you can ultimately get from point A to point B if you shift your internal world, you take the right actions, and you get to where you want to be at. But the delay principle will still be relevant no matter what you do. So there are ways to speed up this delay principle despite the fact that it will always be there no matter what you do. So two primary things that I would refer to when it comes to speeding up this delay is number one, having a congruent identity. So it's very important to have congruency. It's very important to have a congruent identity relative to what you want. If you're, if you feel unworthy of something, if you feel insecure, you feel incompetent, you'll fail at it, you're a failure, then more than likely your identity is not allowing you to be receptive to what you want. You'll never do the right things to get there because you're not even internally open or, trusting enough to take that step. It's funny because if your identity isn't congruent, then you may procrastinate. You might not even take the right actions either. So you might avoid action or you might deceive yourself thinking you're taking the right actions, but you're not. You're taking action, but you're not taking the right actions. And that's a scary predicament to be in because it becomes hard to distinguish when you're taking the right actions or not. That's why instead of, thinking about the analytical, oh, am I doing the right things? It's better to confront your internal world, your identity, and establish the desired identity. And eventually you'll get to a point where you understand, hey, I have to take the right actions. And that's subjective to everybody, but usually you'll know. So number two is having a low attachment. So I'm sure you understand why. Having a low attachment is very important because having attachment in general increases the delay principle. Attachment increases the physical delay that takes place. If your attachment is too high, your desire might take longer to manifest. You'll experience things in your life in an attempt to lower this attachment or to cancel out this high degree of attachment. I don't really know why, but it's just a weird rule of sorts, or a strange occurrence. But it's very common that when you have attachment, you might experience unexpected setbacks, unexpected problems that you couldn't necessarily rationalize or prepare for. So understand if those things happen, just know that it's actually very common. It's actually a good thing. And even if it's not a good thing, it's more of an indicator that, hey, you're stepping out of line. You got to correct yourself. You got to lower your attachment. That's what I perceive it as. It's an indicator, right? It's like an internal indicator. Think of it that way. So that's 1 and 2, having a congruent identity and having a low attachment. Those are the 2 things that you can do to speed up this delay period, along with the basic framework that, hey, you can manifest infinite possibilities. The shifting occurs when you shift your identity and when you shift your internal world. That's when you shift between realities. But ultimately, you'll choose a specific reality, right? You don't want to experience the good and the bad. You just want to experience the good. Why not? So it's vital that you understand that this delay principle exists because a lot of people won't tell you that. They'll just tell you, hey, this is how you manifest in 24 to 48 hours. Use affirmations, visualize, do this meditation, use this subliminal. And that's fine. You might actually get results. Some people do, a lot of people do. But what about the people that don't? What about the people that are questioning the intricacies behind the practice, behind what really works, and why they are not experiencing the results they want? Because everybody deserves to have a fair shot. Everybody deserves to at least know that this delay principle exists. So, take that information, and use it however you wish. So, to shift, you must choose to shift to another experience, right? And you cannot force it to happen. So, so what do I mean by that, right? Where is this coming from? So let's talk about that, right? Because this is a very intricate section of my notes here and what I have for this video. So what I mean by force is that you have a high degree of attachment and you need some result now. You need instant gratification now. So therefore, whether it's through you trying to change yourself from an internal perspective or whether it's through you taking action, you outwardly express this high degree of attachment through your actions. So even if you don't necessarily take action, if you're still vehemently attached to getting this result now, I need this result. I need it. I absolutely need to change my life instantly. Then you will still hold yourself back, because attachment, when you elongate the delay period due to your high level of attachment, understand that that's internal. That is not external. That is an internal thing. That is an internal problem. So trying to change it and trying to force it is not going to work. A lot of people, it's a little hard to process and accept that, but it's true. Just accept you cannot force it to happen. The forcing is different from doing. Doing doesn't have to be done via force. Doing can just be done by itself, but not necessarily through need and having to force something. Choosing means that you must choose what reality you seek to experience. It's through this that you can gauge who you need to become to do so. This framework gives you a broad aspect of the possibilities that you can experience. It opens you up to the idea that, hey, you can experience whatever you want. However, there are some things that you need to do. You have to shift your internal world, and you have to be aware of the physical limitations that are at play, the physical delay period that is at play, and how you can speed up this delay period. So it establishes certain limitations in order to make it more grounded, right? This is a video that I made. I'm not going to just tell you, hey, you can experience whatever you want, but I'm not going to just lie to you and withhold information and say, hey, listen, it's going to manifest instantly. Not true. Things will take some time. On average, a lot. I mean, if it's instantaneous, you couldn't even think about something for it to come. The act of thinking, I mean, even that requires time in itself, right? So that's how you know there's a gradual quality to this physical reality. But it doesn't have to take extremely long. There are things you can do to speed up the process. So, with that, I conclude this video, and I hope you found value from this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And finally, if you want to work with me one-on-one, where we will dive into your current situation, the actions that you're taking, and potentially the internal limitations that are keeping you stuck, and what we must do internally to shift you from your current predicament to where you actually want to be, whether it's with your business, your financial situation, your relationships, your emotional health, your fitness journey. If you're interested, make sure to go in the description and schedule your free call with me. So that wraps up this video. This is, in my opinion, this is what the infinite possibilities framework truly is.